Welcome geometry students to class today on this Monday the 31st. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you had a good spring break. Boy, it's nice to get a break, isn't it? Get about 5 days of school off and relax. Hopefully you're able to sleep in a little bit and get some stuff done that you like to do and just relax. So welcome back from spring break. I know the first day back is always tough. I know it's not easy to focus, but do the best you can, and hopefully we'll be okay during this class period. There will not be a test or a quiz this week. I would look for a quiz probably early next week. I always let you know ahead of time, so I'll let you know next week about that, but no test or quiz this week. You have no homework to turn in. I gave you no homework over spring break. Jake and JC, you both got 100s on those quizzes, so good job. Really proud of you guys. You know what? If you students will work hard and listen to the videos, you can really do well in this class and not just do the work to get it done, but do the work to learn. No matter how boring you find this class or exciting, you can do well if you'll work hard. And I was talking to Coach Robinson the other day, and he was saying, and I'm not going to say who, but he was saying how one student in particular quite often just puts their heads down after about 5 or 10 minutes, and I'm going to be dealing with that, by the way. I'm going to be talking to Coach about that and letting him know how long the videos are and making sure you guys are really paying attention. But if you'll really watch the videos and really work hard and really try to learn, you can do well in this class, okay? I'm not going to say you'll enjoy it, but you can do well if you want it bad enough. So Jason, test by Friday, where I will take points off on a daily basis, so make sure your test is taken by Friday, chapter 9. Okay, so chapter 9 test, and have that done by Friday. Grab your notes, notebooks, pens, pencils, calculators. You won't need your books today, by the way, so if you have your books out, you can put your books away. Students, since you're just coming back from spring break, I want to take a day and make sure that you get a good, solid review of the first 3 lessons from chapter 10. The video will not be long today, the video will be long today, but there will not be any homework for you tonight. However, if you do not finish the video in class, it is required that you finish it tonight at your house, so make sure you finish the video. And back up to this first paragraph here, what I want to do today is make sure that we really understand and that we've not forgotten what was learned from the first 3 lessons from chapter 10, okay? So I'm being kind of nice today. Instead of moving on and saying, hey, review the first 3 lessons on your own, I'm taking a day off today. We're not going to learn anything new, and we're going to review these first 3 lessons very, very thoroughly, and hopefully it will be very helpful to you, okay? So long video today, no homework tonight, but if you don't finish the video in class, you must finish it tonight at your house. Okay, moving on. It is very important that you do exactly what I ask you to do in the video today. There will be problems that we're going to work together, and there will be problems that I want you to work on your own. Please do what I ask you to do. Okay, it's very important that you do that. So we're getting from the stage where we do the problems together, then we do them kind of together, and then you do the problems on your own. Okay, so thanks for doing that. Understand that you will listen to this. This is really important. Understand you will turn in all of the work you do today for a homework assignment. So when you come into class tomorrow, I will ask you to turn in all of the notes that you took today in class. So far you shouldn't have taken any notes. I mean, there's no need for you to write down these paragraphs. Okay, those aren't really important. It just kind of helps me know what I was going to say in the video. Okay, but when we start taking notes here in a minute, be neat. Put your name on the pages. If you turn in work tomorrow that doesn't have all of the notes that I gave you in the video and doesn't have all the problems written down that the video covered, you will get a low homework grade. So tomorrow when you walk into class, I'm going to say, okay guys, turn in all of your notes from Monday. And that should be all of the headings that you wrote down, all of the problems, everything. Okay, I'm doing that to make sure we're really reviewing and really taking notes. All right? And my pen is not working. There we go. Okay, let's start off by reviewing the difference between solving and simplifying square roots. Let's start off by reviewing the difference between solving and simplifying square roots, okay? Let's do this problem together. Let's take the given square root, let's solve it, and then let's simplify it. Now before we do that, we better write down our perfect squares. 2 times 2, 3 times 3, 4 times 4, 5 times 5, 6 times 6, 7 times 7, 8 times 8, 9 times 9, 10 times 10, 11 times 11, and 12 times 12. Alright, should be 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. So there's your perfect squares. Now I'm going to highlight these real quick because I want to have these available for our next couple pages. Alright? Okay, here we go. Let's work this one together. We're going to take the square root of 88 and we're going to solve it and we're going to simplify it. Okay? So take some really good notes, please. Whenever I ask you to solve a square root, all that you do is type it into your calculator. And so I've got my calculator right here, and right now I'm typing in the square root of 88, and I'm getting out 9.380835152. I'm going to round to one decimal place, so 9.38 would round to 9.4. There we go, I solved it. Isn't that easy? Let me say that again. Anytime I ask you to solve a square root, you just simply type it into your calculator. Now, whenever I ask you to simplify a square root, here's what you do. Remember Jake and Jace? This is what I came in that one day to go over with you guys. You take your list of perfect squares and you see if any of these numbers will go into it evenly. So 88 divided by 4. Hey, it worked. 88 divided by 4 is 22. So I take 88 and I start dividing it by all of these numbers until I find one that goes into 88 evenly. Well, 4 does right away. So I'm going to write 4 times 22 because 4 times 22 is 88. Now, which one of these numbers do you know the square root of? Well, which one of these two numbers is in your list over here? 4 is. So cross off 4. And what is the square root of 4? Well, it's 2. So what are you going to put on the outside then? 2. So now you're left over with 2 square root of 22. Now maybe you're done, maybe you're not done. Let's see. Do any of these numbers go into 22 evenly? Well, 22 divided by 4 does not come out even. 22 divided by 9 does not come out even. 22 divided by 16 does not. And we're going to stop right there. None of these numbers in your perfect square will go into 22 evenly. So you know you're finished. So when I ask you to solve, you type into your calculator and hit enter. When I ask you to simplify, you use numbers from your perfect squares list and take the number and break it down. Okay? All right, let me get a drink here and we'll continue on. Let's try another one together. Okay, let's do this one together. Okay, first of all, let's solve the square root of 108. So go ahead and do that now at this time. Go ahead and grab your calculator, and let's type in the square root of 108. If you typed it incorrectly, you should be getting this, 10.39230485. Now, if you round to one decimal place, 10.39 is 10.4. If you rounded to two decimal places, then 10.392 means you would leave it 10.39. I'm not really too worried about where you round these. Just make sure you know how to take a square root and solve it. Now let's take a square root of 108, and let's simplify it. Remember, when I ask you to solve, you break out your calculator, and when I ask you to simplify a problem, you use your list of perfect squares, okay? Well, let's start off with 4. Does 4 go into 108 evenly? Take 108 and divide it by 4. And it does go in evenly, 27 times. So instead of putting 108, we're going to write 4 times 27. Now, which one of these numbers do we know the square root of? Well, which one of these numbers is on your list? 4 is. So I'm going to cross off the 4, take the square root of 4, put a 2 on the outside, and I'm left with 2 square root of 27. Now maybe I'm done, maybe I'm not. Let's see. Let's take your list of perfect squares, and let's see if any of these numbers go into 27 evenly. So 27 divided by 4 doesn't work. 27 divided by 9 does work. So now I'm going to write 2, and then where my 27 is, I'm going to write 9 times 3. Now, which one of these two numbers do I know the square root of? Well, I know the square root of 9. I know that because 9 is on my list over here. So cross off the 9. What is the square root of 9? Well, it's 3. So you put a 3 right here. Remember, you always multiply these numbers right here. So you're left with 6 square root of 3. Now, we know we're finished there because none of these numbers on your perfect squares list will go into 3 evenly. So we know we're finished. Okay? So there we go. Reviewing, solving, and simplifying. Now, on your own, here's what I'd like you to do. Alright guys, you're on your own. For this one, I want you to solve and simplify the square root that I'm about to give you. When I put the problem up on the screen, I want you to pause the video, work it out on your own. When you are finished, start the video again and check your answer. If you missed it, fix your mistake. Find your mistake and fix it. Okay? Alright, here's the problem right here. Go ahead and pause the video now at this time and go ahead and get started solving. Over here is the solve part. You can use your calculator very quickly for that. And then over here is your simplify part. Okay? So go ahead and start that now. Okay, hopefully you're done. I'm going to slide this over and get a little room for my perfect squares list. Alright, there we go. And now, solving should be quite easy. If you typed in the square root of 252, you should have gotten 15.87450787. I'm going to round to one decimal place. Where you round it is up to you. 15.87 rounds to 15.9. So there, we solved the square root. Now let's simplify the square root of 252. We're going to start with our perfect squares list and we're going to divide numbers into it. Let's start off with 4. 252 divided by 4 does work. 4 does work. 4 times 63. So instead of writing 252, I'm going to write 4 times 63. Now, which one of these two numbers do I know the square root of? The 4, so you should have crossed off the 4 and put a 2 on the outside. Now if you stopped here, I would give you partial credit on a test or a quiz, but you should not have stopped here because you've got to take your list of perfect squares and divide them into this number here and see if any of them go into it evenly. So 63 divided by 4 doesn't work. 63 divided by 9, that does work. 9 goes into 63 evenly. So now I have a 2 left over on the outside, and for 67, or for 63, excuse me, I'm going to put 9 times 7. Now, which one of these two numbers do I know the square root of? Well, 9, because 9's on my list over here. Cross off the 9, the square root of 9 is 3. Put a 3 on the outside, multiply these two numbers, and you're left with 6 square root of 7. 6 square root of 7. So there, you know you're done because none of these numbers here in your perfect squares list will go into the square root of 7 evenly. Okay? So there we go. That's a good, solid review on how to solve and simplify square roots. Okay? All right, very good. Let's go on to the next page. Let's review what we have learned about 45, 45, 90 triangles. Here are the 3 formulas that we use for 45, 45, 90 triangles. Remember, these formulas can only be used on 45, 45, 90 triangles, okay? Alright, there are the formulas, so go ahead and copy those down. Leg equals leg. Leg equals hypotenuse divided by the square root of 2. Hypotenuse equals your leg times the square root of 2. Okay, let's continue on. Let's use these formulas right here to solve some 45, 45, 90 triangles. So here's the first one. Let's do this together, okay? Here we go. Now, Jake and Jace, I went over with you guys on that last day I was there. Always find your hypotenuse first. So here's the right angle. The right angle points across the hypotenuse. So y is your hypotenuse. So that means the other two sides have to be your legs. Now, let's see what we're missing. We know one leg, we're missing one leg, and we're missing the hypotenuse. Now, look at your formulas. In a 45, 45, 90 triangles, the legs always equal each other. Look, I'm circling it for you. Whenever you have a 45, 45, 90 triangle, the legs equal each other. So if one leg is 4, then the other leg has to be 4. So x equals 4. That's very easy. Now we're going to find the hypotenuse, which is your letter y. Well, here's the formula right here. Look at it, students, right here. In order to find the hypotenuse, you always take the leg and multiply it by the square root of 2. So in order to find the hypotenuse, take the leg and multiply it by the square root of 2. So here's your formula. Hypotenuse equals leg square root of 2. What is your leg? It's 4. So your hypotenuse equals where the leg is, right here. I'm going to put a 4. Hypotenuse equals 4 square root of 2. That's it. Now you could type into your calculator, I suppose, and get out a decimal. And if you did that, let me grab my calculator. The decimal would be 5.656854249, and that's fine. I really prefer you leave your answer like this in radical form. But there, we did it. So in a 45, 45, 90 triangle, always label the hypotenuse, label your two legs, and then you know what you're solving for. Let's try one more of these together, then I'm going to give you 2 to try on your own. All right, here we go. We're missing over here. Well, let's first of all, and I forgot to put the right angle symbol, so go ahead and do that in your notes. Okay, the right angle always points to the hypotenuse, so I know this side over here is my hypotenuse, the square root of 2. The y would be one of my legs, and the x would also be one of my legs. Now, we do not know either one of the legs, but one thing we do know is that when you have a 45, 45, 90 triangle, and that's what we have because the directions right here say that we do, whenever you have a 45, 45, 90 triangle, the legs are always equal. So since I'm trying to find the two legs, all that I have to do is find the length of one leg, and then I'll know the length of the other leg because they're equal. Now here's the formula right here. How do you find the leg? Well, it looks like to me, in order to find the leg, you take the hypotenuse right here and divide it by the square root of 2. Do you see that? Okay, so my hypotenuse is square root of 2. So I'm going to take my h right here, and where the h is, I'm going to substitute square root of 2. So now you know what your leg is. Your leg is square root of 2 over square root of 2. But hold it. Anytime you have 5 over 5, that equals 1. Or if you had a million over a million, that would equal 1. So square root of 2 over square root of 2 is just 1. So the length of one of your legs is 1. So the length of your other leg is 1. And that's it. These are the formulas you want to use when you're solving 45, 45, 90 triangles. Okay? Now, okay guys, you're on your own. I want you to solve the two 45, 45, 90 triangles that I'm about to give you. When these two triangles pop up, pause the video, work them out, and then restart the video to see how you did. If you miss any of them, fix it, okay? Now let me come over here and very quickly get a copy of this. I want you to have this on this page, okay? All right, here are the triangles I want you to work on, and there's the formulas you can use right there. So go ahead and get started. Please go ahead and pause the video and see if you can solve for x and y on this triangle and x and y over here. Okay, hopefully you're finished at this time. If you're not, don't listen to the video. Pause the video and work these out, okay? But if you're done, let's go ahead and take notes and see how you did. Okay, this is a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Here's my right angle, and it points across to my hypotenuse. So that means my other two sides are my legs. Now, I notice that I know one of my legs. One of my legs is 3. Well, in a 45, 45, 90 triangle, the legs are always equal. They're the same. So if one leg is 3, my other leg is 3. So that's easy enough. X equals 3. Now let's solve for the hypotenuse. Well, here's your formula right here. That's the formula we want to use. So here we go. Where the leg is, L right here, I'm going to substitute 3. So here's L, and instead of putting L, I'm going to put 3 square root of 2. And we're done. That's it. So the hypotenuse, or y, equals 3 square root of 2. That's really pretty simple. All right. Now on this next one, you probably had some problems, and I gave you a little challenging one. We'll see how you did on this, okay? Okay, the first thing you do when you're solving this triangle is you label the hypotenuse. Well, here's your right angle. It points to the hypotenuse, so here's your hypotenuse. Your other two sides then would be your legs. Now, we know that two legs are congruent, leg equals leg, but we don't know either leg. But we do know the length of the hypotenuse, it's 7. So let's use this formula right here that tells you the leg equals the hypotenuse over the square root of 2. Okay? Now where the h is right here, the hypotenuse, I'm going to go ahead and put 7 because 7 is my hypotenuse. So now I have leg equals 7 over square root of 2. Now in the last problem that we did, students, we had square root of 2 over square root of 2, so that was easy to work with. It was just 1. Here, you should have taken your calculator, and make sure you know how to do this, okay? You should have typed in 7 divided by the square root of 7, or excuse me, the square root of 2. So 7 divided by the square root of 2 equals, and you should have gotten 4.949747468. I'm going to round to 1 decimal place, and so you're going to get 4.94 is really 4.9. So there's the length of your leg. You found your leg. And of course the leg is y, but it's also x, because in a 45-45-90 triangle the two legs are congruent. So you just found x and you just found y. The answer to x and y is 4.9. Okay, so a pretty good review on how to solve 45-45-90 triangles. Okay, let's continue on here and see what else we have. Lastly, let's review how to solve 30-60-90 triangles. Here are the 3 formulas that we can use to solve for 30-60-90 triangles. Remember, these 3 formulas can only be used for 30-60-90 triangles, okay? And here they are. Go ahead and copy these down. Hypotenuse equals 2 times the smaller leg. SL stands for smaller leg. LL stands for longer leg. And H stands for hypotenuse. Okay, so here are your 3 formulas. Now, let's go ahead and solve this 30-60-90 triangle. Please take notes on this. Let's solve this 30-60-90 triangle. Okay, here we go. Now, first of all, you want to label your sides like we've always done. But this is a little tricky because in the other problems we just had a leg and a leg. Now we have a smaller leg and a longer leg, or a shorter leg and a longer leg. So first of all, take your right angle. It always points to the hypotenuse, so you know this side over here is your hypotenuse. Now, don't go by what looks like the longer leg or the shorter leg. Don't do that. Look at the angles, okay? Look at the angles. Now, the reason I said look at the angles is because of this. The bigger angle, 60, will always be across from the longer leg. So that means X is going to be your longer leg. And 30 degrees will always be the angle that's right across from the smaller leg. So that's how you know which one is the smaller leg. It's that easy. So every time you do these, the first thing you do is you label your sides. And now we're ready to go. Look, we know the hypotenuse. So let's come up here and let's look. Hey, look at this. Hypotenuse equals 2 times the smaller leg, or look at this right here, shorter leg or smaller leg. The shorter leg right here equals what? What does the shorter leg equal? Hypotenuse divided by 2. Hypotenuse divided by 2. Okay? So, That's no problem. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and make this, let's make this a 50 right here. So it's a number that's divisible by 2 so we don't get any decimals. Make that a 50. So it's going to be a really long side of 50. Okay, so my hypotenuse is 50. So watch what I do. Come on, guys, watch. Here's the formula. Shorter leg equals hypotenuse over 2. See this h right here? I'm going to substitute 50. So the shorter leg equals 50 over 2. And 50 divided by 2 is 25. So this shorter leg right here is 25. There we go. Now let's find the longer leg. Okay, no problem. Here's your formula. Longer leg equals square root of 3 times the shorter leg, right? That's the formula. There it is. So let's take our shorter leg, which is 25, and let's put that in for the SL, the shorter leg. So longer leg equals square root of 3 times 25. And I've told you guys, usually when you have a radical times a number, it's very normal to write the number first and the radical second, like this. Square root of 3 times 25 is the same thing as 25 times the square root of 3. So there, we did it. We found the longer leg. Longer leg, or x, right here, longer leg, or x, equals this right here. There we go. We found x and we found y. Let's review. The first thing I did is I labeled my sides. Hypotenuse, shorter leg, longer leg. And then I just picked the formula that I needed to use, and I used that formula. Let's try a couple more, then I'll give you 3 to do on your own, and then we're done for the whole class period. If you don't finish, you need to finish it tonight. Okay, let's solve this triangle right here, all right? Now the first thing we do when we're solving a 30, 60, 90 triangle is we label our sides. So here's the right angle. We go straight across, and this would be your hypotenuse. Okay, now here's 30 degrees. That's your smaller angle. So go straight across, and that's going to be your shorter leg. Here's 60 degrees. That's your larger angle compared to these two right here. And you go straight across, and so this side over here would be your longer leg. Please do not try to pick the longer leg and the shorter leg based on what it looks like. On a test or a quiz, I'll probably try to trick you. I'll probably put the longer leg like this, but yet put a 30 up here, just to make sure that you know you base the longer leg and the shorter leg on the angles 30 and 60. Okay, now moving on, let's solve for x and y. First of all, notice we know the shorter leg. We know the shorter leg. We have to find the longer leg or the hypotenuse. Okay, so here we go. Why don't we find the longer leg first? Let's do that, okay? So here's our formula. Longer leg equals square root of 3 times what? Shorter leg. Now, your shorter leg is 8, so where the SL is right here, I'm going to substitute an 8. And I've told you the proper way to write that is to write the whole number out front and then the radical second. So there, you found your longer leg. 8 square root of 3. So that's your x. There we go. We solved for x. Very good. Now the only thing left is the hypotenuse. Okay? So let's find the hypotenuse. Well, the hypotenuse, I'm going to go ahead and put 8 square root of 3 right here so we know that side is solved for. There we go. Now the hypotenuse, let's find a formula. Here's our formula right here. Hypotenuse equals 2 times the shorter leg. Well, the shorter leg is 8, so where the SL is, I'm going to put 2 times 8. And 2 times 8 is 16. So the hypotenuse equals 16. So there, we did it. We found all 3 sides, or the 2 missing sides. Not too bad. One more, then I'm going to turn you loose on 3 problems, and then if you don't finish the video, like I said, you must finish it tonight. Okay? All right, go ahead. Let's work on this one together. Let's solve this 30, 60, 90 triangle. Here we go. First of all, it would probably be a little helpful if we got a little space here to work with. So let's do that, and let's do this first. Okay, now, let's go ahead and label our sides. Here's your right angle, go straight across, and this will be your hypotenuse. This is 30 degrees. That's the smaller angle between 30 and 60. Go straight across, and that would be your shorter leg. This is 60, that's your bigger angle, go straight across, and that's going to be your longer leg. So there, I very quickly labeled all three sides. Now, what are we missing? Well, we're missing the hypotenuse, and we're missing the shorter leg. So here we go, this is going to be easy. Let's solve for the hypotenuse first. Are you ready? Here's your formula. Let's go ahead and solve for the hypotenuse. H equals 2 times the shorter leg. And I've got a problem. I don't know what the shorter leg is, so I can't put anything in here. Okay, fine, no problem. Let's go ahead and find the let's find the shorter leg then, okay? So my formula for the shorter leg would be shorter leg equals h over 2. Now, I can't put anything, I got a problem again. I can't put anything in for h. I don't know what h is. So this formula didn't work. This formula didn't work. The only formula left for me to use is going to be longer leg equals square root of 3 times my shorter leg. Now this I can handle because I noticed that I don't know what the shorter leg is, but I do know what the longer leg is. So right here for my longer leg, I can put 4 square root of 3 equals square root of 3 shorter leg. Do you see what I did there, students? This formula didn't help me. This formula didn't help me, so I had to use my last formula. And I know what the longer leg is. It's 4 square root of 3, so substitute it in. And now what am I solving for? Am I not solving for SL, the shorter leg? Well, you guys know what to do. You divide one side by the square root of 3, so these will cancel. But if you divide one side by the square root of 3, you must divide the other side by the square root of 3. So you're left with 4 equals the shorter leg. So now you know what the shorter leg is. Y equals 4. Look at that. And now the only side left we don't know is the hypotenuse. Well, here's your formula right here. Hypotenuse equals what? 2 times the shorter leg. That will work now because I know what the shorter leg is. So hypotenuse equals 2 times the shorter leg. And what is the shorter leg? It's 4. So hypotenuse equals 2 times 4. So the hypotenuse equals 8. Or x equals 8. There it is. We did it. Okay? Now I told you it'd be a long video, but I also told you that there wouldn't be any homework tonight, okay? So here's what we're going to do. If you don't finish this, you got to finish it tonight at home. You're on your own now. I want you to solve the 30, 60, 90 triangles that I'm about to give you. When these, it says 2, that should say 3 right there. When these 3 triangles pop up, pause the video, work them out, and then restart the video and see how you did. If you miss any of them, fix them, okay? So here they are. You ready? There they are. I want you to solve those 3 triangles on your own. Go ahead and pause the video at this time. Now you can do it one of 2 ways. You can, if you want to, it's up to you. You can solve this triangle and then unpause the video and watch how I did it, and then the next one, then unpause the video and watch, and so on. Or you can solve all 3 on your own, and then when you're done with all 3, unpause the video or play the video, and you can see how I did all 3. That's totally up to you. Okay? So go ahead and do that now at this time. Alright, let's solve this first triangle here. I'm going to go pretty fast because I've really reviewed this well, so here we go. Your right angle points across. This would be your hypotenuse. Your 30 angle, 30 degrees, is always across from the shorter leg. Your 60 degrees is always across from the longer leg, so you labeled your 3 sides. Now, what 2 sides are you missing? You're missing the longer leg and the hypotenuse. It doesn't matter which one you find first. I'm going to find the longer leg first. So longer leg equals square root of 3 times the shorter leg. Okay? Well, the shorter leg is 7, so where SL is, I'm going to put 7. So LL equals square root of 3 times 7, which is the same thing as 7 square root of 3. So there, we found your longer leg, 7 square root of 3. All right? Now, the only side left for us to solve is the hypotenuse. Well, here's your formula. Hypotenuse equals 2 times the shorter leg. Well, the shorter leg is 7, so where the SL is, I will substitute 7. and 2 times 7 is 14. So there, just like that, we solved the triangle y would equal 14. Y equals 14. Okay? All right, moving on. Hopefully you did well on that one. Let's try the next triangle. Okay, let's take a look at the second triangle. Here's your 90 degrees. It always points across to your hypotenuse. Here's 30 degrees. It's always across from the shorter leg. Here's 60 degrees. It's always across from the longer leg. And now let's solve our two missing sides. It looks like I need to find the shorter leg and the hypotenuse. Okay, let's find the shorter leg. Shorter leg equals hypotenuse over 2. Ooh, that's not going to help because I don't know what the hypotenuse is. Okay, well, let's find the hypotenuse. Okay, hypotenuse equals 2 times the shorter leg. That's not going to help. I don't know what the shorter leg is. So this formula didn't work. This formula didn't work. So I'm going to use the one that I have left over. Sorry about that, students. I'm going to use the one I have left over, which is this one right here. Longer leg equals square root of 3 times my shorter leg. There we go. Now, I do know what the longer leg is. Here it is right here. It's the only side that I know. It's 8. So where the LL is, I'm going to put 8. So 8 equals square root of 3 times the shorter leg. Now, if I divide both sides by square root of 3, I'm left with SL on the right side, and then 8 divided by the square root of 3 would be 4.618802154. I'm going to round to one decimal place, so 4.61 rounds to 4.6. Now, if you left your answer like that, I'm okay with that. I went ahead and typed it in and got a decimal. So now I know my shorter leg equals 4.6. Very good. Now, what's the only side left I have to solve for? My hypotenuse. Here it is, right here. So hypotenuse equals 2 times the shorter leg. So hypotenuse equals 2 times, and my shorter leg is 4.6. So 2 times 4.6 would be 9.2. So x equals 9.2. There we go. 2 down and 1 more to go, and then we're done with the whole video today. All right, so here we go. Last problem. Let's solve this triangle right here. Well, very quickly, first of all, we notice it's a 30, 60, 90 triangle, so we know we can use these formulas here. Number 2, we label our sides. So here's the right angle pointing across to the 12. So this is my hypotenuse. This is 30, so across from the 30 is always your shorter leg. Here's your 60. 60 is always across from the longer leg. So there, I've labeled all my sides. Now, let's see, we know the hypotenuse, we don't know the longer leg, and we don't know the shorter leg. Well, let's find the longer leg first, okay? So longer leg equals square root of 3 times the shorter leg. Ooh, it doesn't work. I don't know what the shorter leg is. Okay, no problem. I'm going to find the shorter leg then. So shorter leg equals what? Hypotenuse divided by 2. Now, if the shorter leg equals hypotenuse divided by 2, see this h right here? My hypotenuse is 12, so I can put a 12 right here. So shorter leg equals 12 divided by 2, so my shorter leg equals 6. So y equals 6. There we go. And now I can find my longer leg, because the only thing I needed to know in order to solve for my longer leg is I had to know the shorter leg. And now I know the shorter leg, it's 6. So now I can say longer leg equals square root of 3 times 6. 6 is my shorter leg. And then, of course, we know how to write it the correct way. We put the 6 first and the square root of 3 second. So there we go. And if you type that in and you had a decimal for your answer, that's fine. I'm not worried about that. So now we know what the longer leg is. The longer leg is 6 square root of 3. And that's it. So guys, this might not have been the most exciting class period you're going to have all day. And I know it's not your probably most beloved class. However, that's all we're going to do today. You have no homework. That was a really good review to get you guys caught back up to where we were before spring break. And don't hesitate to call or email if you have any questions. Okay? Have a good day.